Support for Colorado Today comes from Credit Union of Colorado. With access to over 30,000 ATMs and a mobile app, they're dedicated to offering the services of a big bank with a heart. Learn more at honestlygood.org. Support for Colorado Today comes from Safeway. Their pharmacists are here to help you and your family stay protected, offering a wide range of vaccines, including flu shots and COVID-19 boosters. Stop into the store or schedule online at safeway.com/pharmacy.
Record-breaking heat is possible today across a large swath of Colorado, stretching from the Wyoming border down to Castle Rock. It's a good day to check in on your neighbors and stay cool and hydrated. I'm Haley May. Coming up, you expect product labels to tell you the truth about what's inside.
Advocates, even within the industry, say that if testing is wrong about potency, then it can be wrong about safety.
Why Colorado regulators don't have a good grip on what's in your weed. Then, local disaster experts say the tragedy unfolding in Texas can be a wake-up call.
It's just more difficult to get people to kind of care and be aware of flash flooding.
And a new exhibition promises to celebrate tribes past, present, and future.
It really is a testament to our resilience.
It's Wednesday, July 9th. Here's the news in Colorado today. Evidence is building that Colorado consumers actually have very little idea what's in their cannabis. That includes how strong it is. A new study shows that what it says on the label often isn't accurate. CPR investigative reporter Ben Marcus is here to explain. Ben, let's talk about potency. Why does it matter what the label says?
The potency predicts the experience to some degree. The more THC, the higher you're going to get. And labels matter because researchers are studying the effect of potency on the brain. They want to know what level of potency is unsafe for humans. People make decisions based on price and potency. And if there's two products of similar cost and one has higher potency than the other, then the consumer is more likely to choose the higher potency cannabis product. So there are questions here about the truth in labeling for $1 billion a year business.
Okay, and tell me more about the study that suggests that some of these labels are wrong.
So this is one of the largest, most comprehensive studies of its kind. 277 different products across 52 dispensaries. They sent secret shoppers out across the state. They purchased products directly from the shelf, the kind of products that consumers are using, and they sent them to a lab. That lab tested them and found that of the flower, the green buds that people purchase in dispensaries, almost half the time those labels were incorrect. And of those, most of them tended to be significantly lower in potency than what was claimed on the label.
And so what's the industry have to say about all this?
Businesses were skeptical. They said two labs can have two different results. Even the state licensed marijuana laboratories. Testing marijuana buds, the green buds, is by nature a difficult process. It's a plant. Buds at the top of the plant can be more potent than buds at the bottom of the plant. Mason Tavert, a spokesperson for the industry group Colorado Leads, he said that higher THC labeling is actually a market-driven thing.
And because the market tends to be driven by a desire for higher potency, companies are incentivized to submit for testing the part of the plant that is most likely to have the highest level of potency.
And he added that there's nothing nefarious about that necessarily. It's better for the consumer to know what the strongest bud in that batch is.
So, Ben, how does all of this fit in with the other reporting you've done about the safety of cannabis products and how they're regulated here?
Advocates, even within the industry, say that if testing is wrong about potency, then it can be wrong about safety. There have been small shelf studies that have found molds and other contaminants, nasty stuff that you don't want to smoke. And they say that this suggests that the state's testing scheme is not effective. And it's not necessarily Colorado's fault either. There are no federal standards. Marijuana still remains federally illegal. And so you don't have the FDA getting involved in setting standards. So you have dozens of states doing it dozens of different ways.
Okay, CPR investigative reporter Ben Marcus, thank you.
Thank you.
As I mentioned, it's not just hot out there today, it's dangerously hot. Extreme heat is the most lethal natural phenomenon in the U.S., but Colorado's deadliest natural disaster ever was a flood nearly 50 years ago in Big Thompson Canyon on the Northern Front Range.
Where more than 100 people perished as water rushed through the Big Thompson Canyon.
Lori Peak directs the Natural Hazard Center at CU Boulder. She meets a lot of people who believe flooding doesn't happen here or who don't understand how quickly things can get out of control. But the tragedy in Texas this week is an important reminder.
The heartbreak is it's just so much, almost too much to bear, thinking about this many children perishing in a disaster. And I think if we're going to honor the lives that have been lost, we could all pause and ask ourselves, what could we do right now?
The fact that two of Colorado's most devastating floods happened in Big Thompson Canyon, one in 1976 and then again in 2013, is no coincidence. Ali Mazarek is a climatologist at the Colorado Climate Center. She says canyons can fill up quickly with water, which can be hard to remember when you're out fishing or relaxing.
In general, it's just more difficult to also get people to kind of care and be aware of flash flooding.
And yet,
we often have a lot of people kind of at risk as they're recreating in these canyons and in these campgrounds that exist along canyons.
Mazarek recommends turning on your phone notifications even when you're out in the mountains trying to unplug so that you still get weather alerts. But as we've heard so much about with the flooding in Texas, she warns extreme weather forecasting isn't perfect.
We often know if there's going to be likelihood of extreme rain, but kind of where and how much of that will fall is still definitely an area of active research.
Peak says other risky spots are where waterways flow through populated areas.
Boulder Creek runs right through the heart of the city. Fort Collins, Colorado also has the Poudre River running right through there. Many of our mountain communities are also at incredible risk. And we saw that in the 2013 floods where in Lyons, Colorado was inundated in those floods, and they actually had to be airlifted. It was actually the second largest airlift evacuation of a flood, only surpassed by Hurricane Katrina.
Peak doesn't like the term 100-year flood. She says all it means is that there's a 1% chance this year of a flood like that happening. Instead,
download whatever the emergency communications app is to get emergency alerts and warnings for your community. Through the Natural Hazard Center, we just led a study this past year, and we found on average that only about 40% of Coloradoans have opted in to emergency alerts.
She says you can call your kid's school or camp and ask them what their disaster plan is. And you can also get involved. Ask them how you can help make that plan come to life instead of collecting dust on a shelf.
I sent my son today to a new camp here in Boulder, and I didn't ask them what their emergency evacuation plan was. But I'm thinking maybe I will tomorrow because I want to be a part of the solution.
And she says you should consider getting flood insurance.
Because in this nation, much of disaster recovery is predicated on the idea that people will have insurance. And that's how they're going to be able to, quote unquote, be made whole after a disaster.
In response to the Texas flooding, a crew of emergency responders from Colorado are now on their way there to help out with the aftermath. It includes people from fire departments in South Metro Denver, Colorado Springs, Fort Collins, and 13 other places along the Front Range. You can understand the past, present, and future of the Ute people in the Pikes Peak region with a new exhibition in Colorado Springs. It's at the Pioneers Museum. Arlo tells us more.
It is called Until Forever Comes. This is Ute Homeland.
The fact that the Utes inhabited the area of the majority of the state of Colorado for decades, it's important to kind of revisit that every now and then.
Marvin Pinnacus is the Southern Ute Indian Tribe's vice chairman.
And so for us, whether it's that Garden of Gods area, the Colorado Springs area, Pueblo, and Denver, the fact that we're now housed on the other side of the state doesn't mean that we still don't have the ties to that area.
And I also want to say, until forever comes, it's saying that some elders say about Ute people, and it really is a testament to our resilience.
This is Crystal Rizzo, Cultural Preservation Director of the Southern Ute Indian Tribe. The exhibition is the result of 5 years of consultation with historians, elders, and representatives of 3 tribal communities: the Southern Ute Indian Tribe, the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe, and the Ute Indian Tribe of the Uinta and Ouray Reservation. The last one is in Utah, where some Ute people were relocated when they were pushed out of Colorado. Rizzo says it could at times be challenging to honor and balance different opinions of the tribes. But
something that was really important from the very beginning was the museum wanting us to be able to tell our story.
it is also important to span and bridge the different generations of Ute people in the region. As you walk through, you will see a mix of historic artifacts and photographs, alongside contemporary items and artwork.
You see how our moccasins have changed over the years. And so really wanting to emphasize that to younger generations. And of course, we had our own young tribal membership come up, and being able to see that we aren't just a museum exhibit where you sort of think about those are things from the past.
The words, "We are still here," are found throughout.
I hope that for non-Native people, that this really pushes back against some of the negative stereotypes of Native people and really shows ways that we are thriving. And I hope it sparks curiosity about the Ute people. And for our own Ute people, I think it's wonderful to see your family members, your relatives who their images are there, the time and energy they spent into making the dresses and the beadwork and all of the different things there, and really helps us to also see ourselves in and the value and importance of all of our traditions.
You can see the exhibit, Until Forever Comes, This is Ute Homeland, now at the Colorado Springs Pioneers Museum. It is going to be a permanent collection there.
Reporting for today's show also came from Arlo, CPR's Haley Sanchez, and KRCC's Andrea Chalfin. Colorado Today is supported by listeners. Find out more at the link in our show notes. I'm Haley May. This is CPR News.
Support for Colorado Today comes from Safeway. Shop Safeway's brands and get high-quality essentials for low prices. From Signature Select, Lucerne, and O Organics, you can save more on your favorites. Get started at Safeway.com or in the Safeway app. Support for Colorado Today comes from Credit Union of Colorado. With access to over 30,000 ATMs and a mobile app, they're dedicated to offering the services of a big bank with a heart. Learn more at honestlygood.org.